So what makes the woman behind the mask? Find out as we conclude our discussion on one of DC's most prominent LGBTQ characters, Batwoman. Welcome to the Oblivion Bar, a safe haven for all DC comic fans. I'm your host, Khalid Hill, and today we're going to shine the bat signal on one of DC's most prominent LGBTQ characters, Batwoman, as we conclude Batwoman Elegy by Greg Rucka and J.H. Williams III. This is the second video out of this series, so make sure that you click right here to watch the first one. Guys, what did you think of this book so far, Ethan?
I loved it. I loved the conclusion of the story. I got to see, the ending of Elegy, which was obviously a real surprise to me. I didn't even know this was coming until it happened. I didn't even think this needed a twist ending, and I still got one, and I'm very happy with it.
Yeah, sure.
The twist ending just literally blew my mind completely. I was like, okay, this is Batwoman, this is who she's fighting. She took her dad, okay, oh my god, dad knows her, oh my god, that's her twin sister, what is happening?
Spoiler!
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't even believe the twist when it was first revealed. When she was like, you have our dad's eyes, I'm like, no, she's just messing with that woman, like, she's just that crazy. And then, nope, they're twins.
Yeah.
Just for real.
From the get-go, you just get, in the first book, you get Batwoman just straight up mopping the floor with so many bad guys, and then she meets Batman, and then she goes on her own crusade, and then she has this crazy psycho villain. But then this book, I love how it concludes because it brings so much depth to her character. You identify with so much in her origin. It was just a blast for me. But the art in this, Williams does a phenomenal job from start to finish. Loved it every second. What was your favorite panel, Robbie?
My favorite panel was the yin and yang type panel that they had going on for the airplane scene when she finally gets to meet Alice on the plane. And I just thought it was such a cool contrast. And you didn't even know the big reveal at that point either. It was kind of hinted at with how her dad knew her and things like that. But I didn't know at that point. And then looking back, it just makes it all the more powerful that they constructed the art in such a cool way.
Yeah. Mine would have to be another scene on the plane where Batwoman infiltrates the plane and she squares up against one of the henchwomen, and you don't know what the hell happened to her, but this lady she just gets straight, I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Wasted.
I can't find her. And all you see is this art where it's just a bunch of blurred watercolors and blood splattered everywhere, and she is just flying through the air. And I don't know if she got hit with a batarang or a kick or a fist, but it was over. It was done. It was a wrap.
So I'm going to move on from the plane scene because there are enough panels in that to be all of our favorites. But just to pick one from a different issue, I really, really thought it was powerful that throughout this book we've been getting all this beautiful art that tells a story, and then you see Kate get kidnapped and she gets a bag over her head, and then the next page is just black. And you see panels and you see words, so you have an idea of what's going on, but you're in her viewpoint, so you can't actually see anything. And I think that juxtaposition is very, very powerful.
I really love how they did a lot with the art, but then sometimes they did a minimum with the art, and you didn't need the words to feel the drama and the energy from it, especially in one of my favorite pages, 2 pages, where she's up talking to the doctor after she'd already dropped off the 2 blood samples, and she's talking to the doctor and she's like, what'd you find out? The doctor's like, well, and she's trying to get this long spiel, and she's just like, I just need an answer, just give me an answer. She says, yeah, they're definitely twins. And she's like, all right, bye. And just falls off the building. They're like, what?
Great. Thanks, see you, bye.
Now, speaking of evil twins, Joe, what did you bring us to drink today?
Well, I brought Evil Twin Brewing. It's from Connecticut. The beer specifically is an Imperial Biscotti Break, is what it's called. It's an Imperial Stout with coffee, almond extract, and vanilla. I don't get as much of the almond. I think it's a little strong for that, but I do definitely taste the vanilla and the coffee.
Yeah, I think it's an excellent beer. very, very strong. Hence the Imperial Stout was a solid 11.5%.
It's not that strong.
Not really even that strong. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, I think it's excellent beer. The coffee and the vanilla definitely help counterbalance the fact that it is kind of strong.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's solid. I thoroughly enjoy it.
You know, there's only so much that can be said about a beer like this. And I think the most important thing that can be said about it is that it is good, and you should buy it.
All right.
Thank you for our usual shameless plug, Ethan. But we get in this book not only the conclusion to Elegy, but we also get the origin of Batwoman. So, Ethan, what did you think of Kate Kane's origin?
It was incredible. They showed you multiple points in her life. They showed you multiple stress points, I think is what you could call them.
Yeah.
You get to see her fall from grace, her Kafka moment, and you get to see her build herself back up in her Cinderella story. You know, you get both plot styles, which I think is incredible.
Such a cultured man you are, Brandon.
I took AP Lit in high school.
What'd you make on the test is the better question.
A 5, but I didn't want to tell you that.
What did you think of her origin, Robbie?
I thought it was excellent. I actually wasn't even necessarily expecting an origin story based off of the start of the book. And then it morphed into that over time once you get the big reveal, and then they kind of fill in some backstory of how this would have came to be. But no, I definitely have to agree with Ethan in the fact that I like seeing all the different stress points, how she, her journey into becoming Batwoman, and I think that's something we're talking about a little bit later, but I find those to be super important and super powerful.
Yeah, I did not expect an origin story coming into this. I was reading, I was just like, oh my god, there's so much action going on, and I thought it was just going to continue to be action, but then they throw childhood trauma at you, and they throw emotions and confused ideas, and I was just like, oh my god, I feel for this person now. I don't just want to watch her kick everybody's ass. I felt for her as a human, and it was really well done.
Yeah, the origin for me became the best part of the story. I mean, I'm a guy that just loves action. I love punches in the face and kicks in the ass, and I will watch that all day long. But seeing the emotional depth that you get out of her, where it all came from, why she wears the mask, and why she has the bat, so I just loved it from start to finish. And in the story, we get her sexual identity really thrust into the limelight. How do you think Greg Rucka handled her sexual identity in this story?
I thought it was handled very, very well. Clearly a very crucial element of how she became Batwoman, but I think kind of a theme with stuff that across the LGBTQ in comics is it's not the most prominent attribute about them. It's a very core attribute for sure, a lot of people would understand with their sexuality, but it's not a defining trait of who she is. And I think everything was handled really well. It all seemed very well put as far as the reality of the time period that this takes place in, and also I love seeing the humanity of her acceptance, especially from her father.
Yes, oh my god, the acceptance of her father, I felt that. But to the specific of her sexuality, I don't really care if they did shove it in your face, because I don't care. But they didn't. Okay, and I thought that was cool because they said this is part of her. It's not the whole thing. This isn't all of her. This is part of her. It's important who she is, but she's still a person, and she's still Batwoman, and she's still going to kick everybody's ass.
Yeah, and I don't even feel like they shoved it. I feel like they wrapped it in a perfect, neat little bow and box and handed it to you on a silver platter, and was just like, this is the life of Batwoman. And guess what? It's not just her life. So many people I identified with this a lot. I was touched. I literally went from reading it to running into our home office and telling my boyfriend, oh my gosh, this book just moved me so much. It was awesome. And when the biggest part was the acceptance, for me, was the acceptance of her father, and the fact that she could just run to him, go to him and just tell him, hey, I'm a lesbian. And he was loving and accepting, and I feel like it says a whole lot about his character and their relationship.
For sure. Definitely. I want to go back to what you said. You said that you don't mind when artists or writers shove in your face that a character is gay. I personally dislike that.
Okay.
I know that's sort of like a weird thing to be against, but I think it sort of belittles a character to say like, hey, this person is gay, and then that's all you get. I think if you want to write a character who is gay, this book should almost be a blueprint.
Yeah.
Right? Even,
Definitely.
I think in the scene where it's most prominent what her sexuality is, where you see her being confronted by her superior about how she can't stay in the army if she's a lesbian. You still, even though that is by far the most important thing that's going on in that scene, the first thing she asks about doesn't involve her sexuality at all. It involves a fellow cadet who she is having a relationship with, and she wants to make sure that that cadet doesn't have these same allegations, that they're safe. And I think that really speaks to how well this character is done.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you. And Kate and her father, you have this relationship built on integrity and trust and honesty. But you come to find out that, there hasn't always been truth there. So, Ethan, how do you feel about Kate's dad lying to her about her sister being alive?
This is a really hard question to answer because, when he first knew, she was at a very young age, and we don't know how that would have affected her. And then she grows up, and, what's the right point to tell her that her sister might not be dead? It's just one of those things where she's been missing, we haven't heard anything about her. He's obviously been trying as an artist to find her, and nothing showed up, so what would be the point of telling Kate? But at the same time, he probably should have told her.
No, I agree with you. I don't think it was not an easy decision for him. No way was it an easy decision. I feel like he must have lost a lot of sleepless nights over that. I mean, at what point could he have brought up, hey, your sister actually survived that night when your mom was murdered? If he had told her, I feel like we would have gotten a very different character. I feel like she would have developed in a totally different way. She'd probably been more vengeful. She probably wouldn't have gone down the path that led her to become Batwoman. Her focus, her priorities would have been totally different. Not saying that he shouldn't have told her. I just think that him not telling her was a hard decision, and if he had told her sooner, it would have given us a different character.
I mean, I think that there is a way that he could have told her and it not have really affected the outcome. If he had told her basically pretty much right after she got into West Point, before she got kicked out, if he had said, look, I never found your sister's body. I think she's still out there. I don't know. I had to get it off my chest. I think she probably would have still come to terms with that, and she would have still been kicked out because she's a lesbian, and she would have owned it because she's unapologetically so, and she still would have become Batwoman.
Yeah, I think it's just, again, revisited to when do you bring that up? Because I don't think it was the right time when she was a child to bring that up.
Oh, God, no.
I think that would have definitely been something that would have consumed her. And I think that might have also been part of the worry, is that if he told Kate about it, that it would consume her. If she knew that her sister might be out there somewhere.
She obviously has that kind of personality.
Right, yeah, for sure. And he would have, in doing so, he may have lost 2 daughters, if he told her too early. No, I totally agree. But his other daughter, that we've come to find out, who is Alice, what do you...
An evil twin.
An evil twin. Well, what do you think happened to evil daughter Alice? Do you think she's still alive? Personally, I think yes. I mean, her body dropped in the water and they didn't find a body. This is typical DC, shenanigans. I think that she's such a great character to reuse in the story, and I haven't read past this, but I think she's going to be a recurring character, going to come up again, and I think that's brilliant for DC writers to use this character.
They didn't find her body. You didn't watch her die in a panel. It just seems too apparent that she can't be gone forever. Even if she comes back and not necessarily is the same Alice that we saw before, she's getting brought back in one way or another, I think.
I mean, yeah, I kind of want her dead. I'm gonna be real. She real creepy. She real freaky.
You just want creepy, freaky people to die? Is that what you're saying?
Well, and she's trying to murder everybody.
Okay, that's a good
Specifically Alice, creepy, freaky, alright.
You didn't let me get to the third point. Do I want her gone? Yes. Do I think she's gone? No. Because again, like Robbie said, you didn't see a body. She just kind of fell into the water, which pretty much, as you know, if you read comics, if they're falling over water, odds are they're not dead because you can technically survive it, even though it's like a 1% chance. But I think she's alive.
Alright, I guess I'll play devil's advocate then. I think she's dead. I think for sure she's dead. And you know why? Because I think it's more powerful if at the end of Batwoman's, let's still call this an origin, because we've come to find out this is an origin story, only after we don't know if Alice is dead or not. But I think one of the most powerful ways to end Batwoman's origin story is with more tragedy. She finally finds her long-lost sister, who she didn't even know was alive, only to realize she was alive after she died from Batwoman's arms. She couldn't do enough to save her sister.
Yeah.
I also think it's an interesting point that the book is called Elegy, which is a song for the dead. So if we don't have a death, maybe a misnomer of a title, but...
Maybe the elegy is pointed towards her mom and her sister, or the fact of what she lost. I mean...
That's fair.
Or what she thought she lost.
Yeah.
And I guess
you can also argue that Kate died.
Yeah.
And Batwoman was born. I mean...
Yeah, there's definitely a metaphorical level of death that you can kind of point to.
We are getting all kinds of levels of deep in here. But, guys, if you want to check out this book, it's a phenomenal one. I will put a link to the description below, but that just about wraps up our episode today. If you like what we're talking about here, make sure you click that little thumbs up. And if you want to follow us and know when we're going to upload videos, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the little bell so you can be notified when those come out. And you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at @Oblivion. Question of the week. What do you think really happened to Alice? Make sure you put your comments in the answers below. Let's try that again. Make sure you put your answers in the comments below. And until next time, we'll catch you at the Oblivion Bar.
A large fresh orange juice, please.